Hi my loves, my name is Christina. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a word of encouragement and confirmation. This is an exciting word. It's not for everyone, but please take it to the Lord. But when you hear this word and this dream, you are going to know. You're going to know in your spirit whether or not it is for you. You would have been receiving confirmations from the Lord already. Anyway, let's get into it. So on the 6th of December, 2022, I had a dream. I was sat in this restaurant and there was a guy at a table with a girl. Now, in my spirit, I knew that I was connected to him. So I sat there and they seemed to be kind of on a date. They were eating and stuff. But then I realized that at the end of it, they got up to leave. And in my spirit, it's like I realized that they had decided to just be friends, you know? It's almost like I feel like they were on a date, but essentially the dream was trying to show me that they were dating. And they decided to just be friends. And when they were crossing me, the girl just seemed content. You know, she seemed fine. And she was saying to the guy, oh, thank you so much. And when they went to the cash register, I noticed that he paid. So that's how I knew they were on a date, that they were on a date, but by the end of that date, they decided to just be friends. And it wasn't like a harsh ending or anything. It was just like a mutual kind of decision. It was almost like they decided that, you know, that connection wasn't there, that vibe wasn't there, and they just decided to be friends. So anyway, I didn't say anything to either of them. They were stood at the cash register checking out. And when I was leaving the restaurant and walking kind of behind them, I was like stomping my feet. Like I was trying to step really hard on the ground, like when I was crossing, like trying to get his attention. Anyway, no matter how much stomping I did, he did not notice me. It did not get his attention. I made it to the door, and as I was getting ready to open the door to go out of the restaurant, remember they were still at the cash register checking out. As I was getting ready to go out of the restaurant, I opened the door and I turned my head to look like down the street to the right outside. And as I turned to look to the right outside, he was behind me at the cash register. And I could tell from the corner of my eye that as I turned to look this way, he kind of turned around and saw the side of my face and immediately recognized me. And in my spirit, there was like this flush of emotion of like, oh my goodness, there she is. That is her. I need to talk to her. I could literally feel like his emotion. I can literally feel like the anticipation and the just like the anxiousness within him, you know? But in the dream, it was like by this time, I was kind of already so frustrated that I couldn't get his attention, that I wasn't interested in the fact that he was now trying to get my attention. He had now noticed me and was now wanting to come to speak to me. So I walked out of the door and I turned left. And I started walking down the street left, and I could feel the anticipation of him wanting to come and speak with me, wanting to come and get my attention. And I started walking down the street, and all of a sudden, I had this heavy coat in my hand, like in my right hand, this very I getting chills right now, this very heavy coat in my hand. And I remember like I could barely walk in the dream. Like it was like heavy, and I was trying to like hold it up, and I was thinking like, who can I get to help me, you know? And when I woke up from this dream, I realized that that wasn't the only coat I had in my hand. I had two coats. For some reason, I had one coat in this hand. It was fine. It was secure. I had a good grip on this coat. But this coat that was in this hand, it was extremely heavy, and I couldn't carry it by myself. That's all I remember from the dream. I prayed. I asked the Lord for revelation, and here's the revelation, guys. Whoever this word is for, your God-ordained spouse may have been dating someone or is dating someone, but they are going to realize or have realized that that connection is strictly platonic. They're not equally yoked. They're going to realize and come to the decision to just be friends. The girl was fine. She didn't seem upset or anything. Him, however, When he turned around and noticed me, before he noticed me, he had like this type of sadness and like a slight like frustration in his face. And I think it's because when these two people decide to split, the girl is going to be fine with it. She's going to have confirmation in her spirit that they're not meant to be together. Your spouse, however, he's going to have some frustration because he thought that this was it. He thought that this person, this girl was it. And he had finally found the one. So he's going to have some frustration and some anger, right? The part where I was stomping when I was leaving the restaurant shows that there are some of you who have been doing things to try and get your spouse's attention. There is some, when I say your spouse, I mean your God ordained partner, the person that God has ordained for you to be with, and he has revealed that person to you. There are some of you who have been in your own means, been trying to do things to try and get this person's attention, and you haven't been able to. The stomping also shows that there is some of you who has been stomping around upset with God because this thing has not come to pass yet. Some of you have been very frustrated, very upset. And I understand. I understand. The part where I was walking out the door and it wasn't until then that he turned around and realized shows me that it's gonna be right at the last moment when you don't even expect it. This man, this person, your God ordained, is going to come to the realization it's most likely going to be in a time where you're just like, you know what? Why am I still standing for this? Like, I can't do this anymore. And that is going to be the moment in their lives where it's like, there she is. That's her. I need to talk to her. So later in the day after I had this dream, the Lord gave me the revelation, Christina, the coats. So I went and I found the symbolism of coats. Coats in a dream represent mantle and anointing, right? The coat that I had in my hand that I was carrying fine shows that your mantle and your anointing that you have on you, you're carrying it fine. You're doing well, you're pleasing the Lord, and you're walking in righteousness. You're walking in the way that the Lord has shown you, and you're doing your very best, and you're doing it well. But that other coat that I could barely walk and carry, that represents the mantle and anointing that is on you and your God-ordained spouse. That mantle was for both of you. And when I walked away from him and was trying to carry that on my own, I was unable to. The mantle and anointing upon you and your God-ordained partner is heavy. It is heavy. And if you decide to walk away from this promise, you are not going to be able to carry that anointing on your own. Many of us have individual mantles, individual anointings. But many of us also has a special anointing that is upon our union. And you cannot carry that on your own, sweetheart. You can't carry it on your own. I mean, that thing was heavy. And when I got that revelation from the Lord, I said, wow. And you know what else stood out to me in the dream? The fact that when I was going out the door, I looked right. I looked right, and that's when he noticed me. But it's when I walked out, I went left. So when I was going right, the right way, you notice that in the Bible, Jesus sits at the right hand of God. Lord, please touch me with your righteous right hand. It's when I looked right that this man noticed who I was. But when I walked out the door and decided not to speak with him, I went left. I went left and could barely even take steps because I was trying to take this coat on my own. You guys have a very heavy anointing. And if you walk away from this promise, you will not be able to carry it on your own. So the Lord took me to Esther. the book of Esther. As you know, when the king sent for Vashti, to show her off at the party, show off her beauty, she refused to come. She got dismissed and Esther was chosen. Esther was brought before him and she was chosen. It is the same way in which your God ordained partner and this person, it's the same way that this girl is unfortunately going to be dismissed. Not in a bad way, but they're not equally yoked. So it's not going to work out. She's going to be out of the picture and you're going to move in. That's just what's going to happen. If you haven't read the book of Esther, if you're not familiar with it, I encourage you to read it. It is a beautiful story. I love it, right? So guys, whoever this word is for,